We are live.
Oh, you're on. You're on.
Okay. Does it look like we are live?
Oh,
Here, but all right, we're there. We're there.
Yep.
Well, welcome, Michelle. That I am honored that you are willing to come on here with me in the Happy Wife community, where we are standing for women to become their best self as and to create amazing marriages is what we're up to. And can you hear me all right?
I hear you great. Yeah.
You do. All right. It's not moving at my end, so I'm going to assume that it's going all right. So I would just invite you to share maybe a little bit about your story. When I know that you're a mom of 6 kiddos, all grown up now, but you're a grandma. And so what was it like for you? If you can give some of the women the perspective of what it was like raising 6 children with a husband who you've described as the Tin Man. Very
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Yes, I call it my Tin Man story because, and this is only I found out in retrospect, by doing our strengths and talking about our strengths, he's got very different strengths than I have. And Carol, also in working with you, I understood the masculine, feminine. I do understand that piece, but the words that you used to help me understand how his mind was really involved in raising his family by going to work and providing for us. And I knew that, but it was almost like, yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. But I'm home with these littles. And I described it, he was working full-time, part-time, and overtime, and he was never home. And that was my story. He was never home. And, we had these babies all 2 years apart, the first 5, and then there was 7 years between them and the next one. But, I felt like I was a single mom, and I would describe that to friends. Like I felt like I was single parenting, and it was kind of lonely. And it was, at some point I started to feel a little bit desperate for, I didn't think we could afford. And that's another thought. We couldn't afford a babysitter. That's what I told myself. And, a friend of mine came into my life. Her name was Cheryl. So we'll just go with the Cheryl story. And she wanted to help. She was 12 years older than me. She wanted to help, but not in the way I really thought I needed some help. She felt like I was leaning too hard on my oldest daughter. She thought I kept my house too clean and wanted me to relax a little bit, So it was almost like she decided to position herself as my mentor. And she was, a friend from my Catholic faith. And, but it kind of came across as, you should be doing these things. You should be going to daily mass. You should get all those little kids up and take them to daily mass, and your life would be completely different. It just wasn't working for me. And at some point she made some very negative observations, and I ended the friendship. And looking back, I wonder, how did I open that door? I opened that door somehow, right? There must have been some lies I was believing about my own abilities and my relationship with my husband that kind of opened me up to, I would say, vulnerability, really, to something that didn't really work for me. So different from coaching, right? It's just such a different relationship. What I learned from coaching with you was I could bring my story to you and you would help me kind of untangle it. Even, my husband worked full-time, overtime, and part-time. It was a story. Some of it's very, very real, but also he was home sometimes. And unfortunately, what I realized was I was fire hosing the poor guy. I was flooding him emotionally. And what you helped me see, even though, I'm in coaching, I understand our strengths, I get all that, but even beyond that, you were able to give me the skills to see that I needed to meet some of my own needs first. And when I talked to you, I think the first time, I'm not sure I really knew what those needs were. I didn't really even know how to process my own emotion first so that I could then make a request to my husband for what I needed, and he's a getter. He's a go-getter. He's an executing guy. That's what he does. I mean, he's been a cop for 38 years. He goes out and he gets it done. And I mean, I remember you saying to me a couple of times, like, I wonder what would happen if you just asked him. And I was like, yeah, but I have to explain it and go into the history of why I want it, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Michelle, I just really honor you and celebrate your self-awareness and your willingness, like, to be coached, right? And so for you to be able to see now in hindsight that bringing all that emotion to him all the time, fire hosing him. My husband feels the same way. In fact, I think I shared with you how often my husband, when I'm like talking too much and going on, like, he goes horizontal and his clothes, like those baby dolls we used to have.
Yes.
He just can't handle it all. So it's like, it's so important that we have like-minded women in our lives. Ones that won't shame us, one that won't put expectations on us.
Yes.
Our expectations. And that's the special thing about coaching, is that for me, I try very hard to always respect that the woman is the expert in her life. She gets to decide. I don't ever tell a client what she's supposed to do. And, like, getting to daily mass is awesome. With 6 kiddos, little ones, I mean, I had a hard time, I couldn't, and I only had 3. And so, sometimes I could, sometimes I couldn't, but it's like, sure, you can make a suggestion, but like, she's the expert, and that's just so important. And so I love how you've grown in respecting him. But I see as a shift that in the bad old days, sort of, it was like in a victim place. If he's never home, he's working all the time. What about me? I feel unloved. I feel lonely. And now you've gone to see, like, this man was a hero. This man, like, worked so hard to provide for 6 kids, to give you a nice home, to give you all the things. And I think you even shared, like, he was going into 9/11, like, he was such a strong, courageous man, and that you've shifted from making him wrong to really respecting, all that he is. And my husband has said to me is that, Carol, I knew that you were great at, I trusted you raising the kids. So I didn't feel like I had to be home micromanaging.
Yes.
Like, you were doing your job. I was,
Mm-hmm.
but gosh, I made him wrong for that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that you point that out, because what I could have taken away, the story I could have adopted, was he trusts me.
Yeah.
And I'm doing a good job. I mean, I think I even said to you early today, I was a good mom. I was doing a good job. And I scheduled everything. I mean, he worked midnights for years. And so I would get up early in the morning. I would get the kids ready, pack a lunch, and we would go to a park, or we would go grocery shopping, or we would go to the library. Whatever it was, those 4 days that he was on, I packed them up and we went out and met friends, whether, in any weather, so that he could sleep. And what I wanted was for him to come to me and say, oh, thank you so much. It was not, what I can see now is it wasn't in his bandwidth. He didn't bring that skill into the marriage. And the more I kind of pounded away at him for that, the harder it was for him to even meet me halfway, And so as soon as I realized, wow, you know what? We're both using our skills to the maximum. And we're not necessarily hearing each other. And somebody's got to go first.
Yeah. Oh, big, Michelle. That is big. Because I can remember a coach saying that to me, because I was resisting, I was resisting changing because my finger was blaming my husband all the time. And the coach said to me, well, who's the more mature one? And I thought, well, that would be me. Right? Pride. Yeah. But it's like, okay, that means then that I get to go first. I
And isn't it so interesting, Carol, because we were both mature in different ways. So Michael had this stick-to-itiveness. I
yeah.
mean, think about it. He got up and worked 12-hour days
Oh,
and then sometimes went and worked an overtime job for extra money because being a cop, honestly, a street cop didn't pay much at all then. And I was staying at home. And yes, he did. Like I told you earlier on 9/11, everyone else was fleeing the city. And we live in Virginia. So my husband was driving toward DC. He was driving toward the Pentagon and it got hit on his way.
oh,
So, I wouldn't have any other kind of man. You know what I mean? Like if he were squishy gushy, some of the ways that I described the way I want him to respond to me, I don't think I'd been attracted to him. So when you say I was making him wrong, it's such a good phrase because he wasn't wrong. And we had this discussion. I had this great discussion with him just 2 days ago. He's retired now. And now I'm starting my career and he will make me lunch. In fact, he didn't want to be seen, but he just came in and brought me some apple cider.
oh, what a guy. Oh my gosh.
I'm telling you, I mean, we've worked on this. I've worked on this. Well, okay. I worked on it sanctimoniously for a couple of years, right? And then I finally started understanding I got to do my own work first. I've got to take that Epsom salt bath. And I know that's not the only way to self-care, but for me, self-care is like, I've got to have time to think deeply. I've got to have time to connect with people like you, like-minded women. I've got to have time to find those people. And sometimes our church organizations, we think they're not the right place, but I think I brought some of my baggage with me, right? That when I was looking early on, and I probably looked pretty desperate, right? I think
What
I
would
was
you do
pretty
differently
desperate.
now? If you had advice, like for, otherwise, maybe, earlier in the journey than you are, than I am, what would you say? What advice would you have? What would you do differently?
One of the questions I would ask myself, which is what I've heard you say again and again, is what do I need? What am I feeling? What do I need? And then what do I want? Because what I want is okay. And I can make a request. And you know what? If you can't grant it, I can kind of step back and go, oh, okay, I wonder what that was about. And I think I would have observed patterns a bit more. And I would have observed his response. And I love your phrase, I wouldn't have made him wrong for it. I would have just been able to say, this is Michael and this is Michelle. And I don't want to make him like me. And I never wanted to make him like me, be like me, but I did want him to hear me. What I didn't understand was typically a man, and I don't want to go into stereotypes too much, but so often a man who's in that strong provider position, how is it you've described him as like dark blue? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I talk about is that if there's a spectrum of color and that, like my husband is way dark blue, like dark blue, almost black, like he is as dark blue masculine as you can get. In fact, I think his sister calls him the caveman or something like that. Like he's really, okay, it's all man. And then you can go on the other end to pink, really, the pinkest pink of high maintenance woman, so to speak, and where are everybody's sort of on that spectrum, and so it's interesting because like one of my boys is more purple, like he's definitely more on the emotional end, and then one's a little bit stronger, and then my daughter's, she's not girly pink, she's way in the middle, she's military, and I'm probably somewhere in here, right? Like we're all in there. And your husband, Michael, if he's able to go in to 9/11 and he's street cop, all that, he's dark blue.
Yep.
Dark blue, typically they don't, that emotional piece is way over here in the pink, my husband can't handle it all either. And it's not wrong.
Right.
It's just
different.
And we get to respect that.
And the respect is so important. And even just saying it to myself, like I can respect that difference and not make it wrong. And then I can begin to see, then it opens my eyes, like the scales fall off my eyes. And I can begin to see all the things. I mean, he's willing to go grocery shopping. All I have to do is give him a list. And I think you said it not too long ago. You're like, girl, give him a list. Let him go. Right?
Well, if he wants to meal plan and do all that, yeah, baby. Like I have an app, so like you can do the app together. You can make it fun, like receive from him. Let
Yeah.
hero, set him up, let him go. Absolutely. And if he gets like bags of chips and pepperoni, okay, well, that happens, but still love it anyways. Like look for the good, look for the good. Peacekeeper. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I always thought that pointing out, so here's another bit I would say to young moms, pointing out what they're doing wrong
Ugh.
is not going to help you. We think that we're educating them.
Mhm.
We think that they're helping them see the world through the lens of our own eyes, and we're not. They just take it as criticism, and they want to get away from it. They want to physically move away. I mean, just like you said, like lay down on the couch and like the dolly eyes close when you get horizontal. I love that. And I'm sure they feel like, and I'm dating myself. Remember the old doll that you pull the thing on the back and she just talks and talks and talks? Chatty Cathy. I'm sure I mean, that, right? Those two dolls. And that's just and bringing humor into it, right? Lighten it up, loosen that entanglement, bring some humor into it. And then I would say, take a look at where you're coming from, not to go digging deep into history, but like, I wonder why I'm taking it this way. I wonder why I'm taking this so personally. I wonder why I'm feeling hurt by this. Because I know my husband loves me. And I would be like, well, he doesn't drink and he doesn't cheat. But that I was like, no, that's not his bar. His bar is that he's providing, he's doing his job. It's not stay out of all those negative behaviors. It was he's really being a great husband. Just not 100% the way I thought he should be. And I was trying to show him through my lens. Whereas if I had collected myself, if I'd had a coach who could stay out of the pool with me, like don't come in here to the weeds with me. I don't need you to do that and feel sorry for me. I think my friend Cheryl pitied me. I think she saw me as desperate and exhausted and overwhelmed and incapable. And when we hold other people as fragile, is when we treat other people as incapable, I think we're handicapping them. I was fully capable, but I did need some help sorting through my thoughts and gaining some of those skills that would allow me to see him as a man I respect, the man I chose freely and willingly, and the man that I want to be with. He is the man I want to be with.
That's awesome, Michelle. And that's exactly what coaching is about, is again, respecting the woman and absolutely believing that she's capable. Without a doubt, I know that every one of my clients is, everybody in this group, like we are capable women, we are strong women, we are not victims in any way, surrendering or, letting him be the head of the household. None of that is less than for a woman. But in fact, like I believe that we're all capable of growing and stepping into being our best self, especially when we start to master our mind and our thinking, because so often we're victims to our emotions and we come from this emotional place. I feel lonely, I feel sad, I feel bored, I'm not really loved and all that. And it's like, it's your thoughts that are always creating those emotions. And when you learn to master your thinking about it, change the story that you're telling, step into your best self, self-care, becoming grateful, mindful of all of God's blessings in the world and in your life, everything shifts. Everything shifts. And so my stand as a coach is to be able to come alongside women and journey with them so that they can, master their thinking, be their best self, and truly create the amazing marriage that they wanted when they stood at the altar, and really create that next generation of strong, faithful children. Because children need that solid foundation. You know, I've shared my parents divorced when I was a senior in high school, and I went off to college feeling like, actually it was my senior year, like the whole floor just fell out from underneath me and my world crashed. And the same thing happened to my brother who was in college. I never, ever, ever want that for children. And so that is why I'm on this mission to empower so many wives to be their best self, to learn the skills that I teach, to transform their lives. And you, Michelle, are just a beautiful example of that and what you've done and the shift and how more and more the story you tell of your husband, gosh, he's just an amazing man. And that wasn't always the story I heard when we first met. And so it's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing I'd love to point out, Carol, is that it's not positivity bypassing that you're talking about. It's not just, oh, write down what you're grateful for while you're clenching your teeth and, you know, hi, puppy. Yeah, it's not like teeth gritting gratitude writing. It's sorting through your thoughts, and it's just so much more than trying to be happy when you're not feeling happy. And I love the way you totally honored that I wasn't feeling happy, right? And you're like, okay, I can handle that. You know, we can talk about that. Yeah. And your puppy is, I don't know. I'll just wait.
I am so sorry. Part of my story here. Oh, hang on.
I don't know what kind of dog she has.
My Daisy, come here. So we're live and we are.
Just bring Daisy on.
My story. If everybody wants to see Daisy, maybe she'll come over. So we're building a log cabin, and I've shared that with you. So that was just the fire marshal giving us permit that we're going to burn some brush tonight. So it's finally. Yay! So right, like it's been 2.5 years since my husband, when we moved into this camp, that my husband promised me that we would build a log cabin in. And I have had the tendency and had to challenge of respecting his timetable, his process, getting it all done, you know, and it's happening. So it's like, praise the Lord. So I apologize for that interruption. And yet that's real life, right? Like Ashley, how's the fire permit?
So good. So good.
Yeah, so we're celebrating tonight. I've got the hot dogs for the fire, s'mores, and I'm sure some wine out by the fire. So sometimes we have to pivot from what could be, like I could have in the bad old days, I'd be ripping him apart, mad. You know, the story of you don't really love me. I have to live in this uninsulated camp with winds and freezing cold weather, and you just don't really love me. I could totally go there.
Mm-hmm.
No, Carol, self-control. Like my vision is to have a peaceful, loving marriage and to keep believing that this man does love me and he's working hard and he will get to it in, you know, soon. And pray. And all of this is a spiritual journey. All is about uniting our sufferings and our eyes, keeping our eyes on God, our sufferings with Christ, knowing that who we are in the end, right? Like it's a journey about becoming the best person we can, a journey of learning how to love, because that's what God is, right? He is love. And so if we can learn how to love our man, I do think that marriage is a school of love, because it's easy to be like, you know, but it's like, no. What's God trying to teach me here?
Yeah.
To teach me here. And that's what respect is about, right? Like that's what gratitude is about. You know, what was I reading the other day about in St. Paul? It was like doing everything with thanksgiving and how we are a Eucharistic people. Eucharist means thanksgiving. So that if we can be thankful, even in the struggles, it's like, that's where God's taking us deeper. God's taking us into transformation. And so I do think that's the journey we're on. I'm so blessed to have you, you know, trust me and you be a part of this journey, and for you to come on here and inspire other women, because that's what we're about, is a stand for all women, that all can create the amazing marriage that they dreamt of when they stood at the altar. And that, yeah, God wants, we can glorify God in staying the course and learning the skills. And so I am doing a free talk on Tuesday night, the 27th. So it's like, what, a week and a half, at 6 p.m. And so there's a link. I'll put it down in the comments here after we end this for people to sign up. But that free talk is where I'm going to start teaching the specific skills that, like Michelle's talking about, and that I teach all my clients to be able to have the marriage that they dream of. And so I hope that many of you will come and that you'll invite friends into this Happy Wife Facebook community so that you can all keep like this is where we stand for each other, by inviting other women in, by sharing these kind of talks. Because honestly, like Michelle was sharing, oftentimes we don't know what else is going on in somebody's life, maybe at church, maybe we're sitting next to somebody, maybe we go to a Bible study together or something, but we don't really know what's going on. So sometimes if we just share in a group, you'll be surprised where God's going to take that, that they might join this class, and it could transform their marriage. So whether you're newly married and you want to avoid the mistakes that Michelle and I and lots of wives have made, or, you know, maybe you're on the other end and you've been married a lot of years like we have, but there's still room to grow. There's still things that we can learn. Maybe you're struggling and the D word's been mentioned, you know, that very often we can see that turned around too. Women have a lot of power. We really do. And yeah, so I'm standing for everybody. I just want to thank you, Michelle. Is there anything else you want to share in closing?
No, I think we've hit it. I think we've hit all the high spots, honestly.
Talking with you, and I could talk forever. And so we'll chat again, but I sincerely thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, God bless, my friend. And I'm going to see if I can wrap this up, and then I'll go into the comments. Oh, actually, you know what? Are you able to see Facebook? Are there any comments on there?
I can take a look. Yeah. Let's see.
Let's see. I'm grabbing my phone. If anybody.
Joe Wilson says hi.
Hey, Joe.
And oh, it puts it into words at the bottom. That's cool.
Oh, there's captions.
Joe Wilson says, thanks for your vulnerability. Honoring ourselves is so important. Jennifer.
Yeah, Jennifer. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Such a huge victory. Amen. Amen.
Love that coaching is truly that, not dictating or controlling in any way, but being accompanied towards being the best version of yourself. At the risk of sounding cliche, it is genuinely empowering. Yes, yes.
Accompaniment. Yeah, I love that word. I love that word. And so instead of thinking, you know, oh, I've got to help this mom or this other wife by changing what she's doing, it's more like hearing, like Carol heard what I said. She didn't belittle me. She didn't shame me. She didn't tell me what I should be doing differently. She just listened, asked good questions, and basically said, what is it that you want? What is it that you need? What is it that you're feeling? I'm like, well, okay. You know?
And that empowered you to be able to bring that to him more clearly without all the sorting. Because that's like when I bring it to my husband and I'm still processing, that's when there's too many words.
Yes.
Doing it through coaching, then you're able to go right to it, and then he can answer. So
yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, God bless you, my friend.
Thanks, Carol.
Very soon. Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.